Good morning, everyone, and thank you guys so much for joining the live stream. Morning, Mason, V, Hunter, Muscle, Raphael. Thank you guys so much for joining us this morning. Let us know what stocks you guys are watching. We have V saying Apple is about to pop. They reported some pretty solid earnings numbers, Tom. I know that they're getting closer to their all-time high, and they ran up so much in after hours yesterday, all the way up to the highs of $139.50. They're pulling back a little bit right now, but they still look pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. And in after hours, they even pulled back quite a bit to 135.50. So they're really right between the range right now. And it looks like right before open, we're seeing some pretty red candles off of Apple, which is not bad per se because they're up so much, but it's still pretty interesting to see out of these stocks that were moving a lot last night. And there we go at open. Now we're seeing some green come back into the market. So that's great to see there.
All right, and then while you just said that, we have the SPY at all-time highs. We broke about $420.58. That's a new all-time high. It looks like we are rallying off of that right now. Let's check in on Facebook. I know that they were soaring in after hours. They are up almost 8% this morning. That's pretty crazy. They're actually, are they at their all-time high? Let me check. I don't think so.
Yeah, let's go to that max weekly. Yeah, they are actually at their all-time high, I think.
Yeah, so yeah, they're definitely running up. Looks pretty good. Let's check in on Qualcomm. I know they also reported earnings. They're getting really close to that resistance right around 146. And then I also wanted to check in on UPS. I was looking at this one for an earnings continuation play. They reported some really good earnings earlier in the week, and they're still running up. If they keep running today, I'll probably get in some call credit spreads or like some sort of theta strategy like short calls.
Yeah, for sure. And it looks like they hit right off that $200 resistance, which is a pretty big level. So make them actually break above that today. If you want to day trade it, it looks like it would be a pretty good trade, especially with it being such a solid level. And right now they're at 199.27. So watch out, especially at open. There's probably going to be a whole bunch of movement right now. And here we go. We're seeing some green coming back in. So hopefully it can get back up and break 200 and go even higher.
All right, and then we have Raphael saying good morning, CLOV and ChargePoint. So let's take a look at these two. I know that they were both potential for short squeezes. CLOV had a pretty good day yesterday, and today they're up around 7%. It definitely has a lot of potential, and I actually really like the setup.
Yeah, me too. And it's also bouncing off the 100 SMA this morning. It did pop in pre-market and then pull back to this 100 SMA, and now it's coming up. So at open, that's normally a pretty good sign to see. Hopefully it holds this and continues to go green. If it does, I think it would be a pretty good setup, especially with what we've been seeing. And if we go to that max daily, CLOV has been killing it. Hopefully they can just keep breaking out because it just seems like this stock just keeps running and running. And we do have earnings coming up soon, but it's in a couple weeks, so it does have some time before that.
All right, and then ChargePoint, too. I know this one had some potential for a short squeeze. It looks like it's pulling back just a little bit right now. They're still up on the day. They're one of those really volatile stocks. Their IV is like 90%, but they are pulling back a little bit. But I think their short float percentage was like 75%. So if this thing does run up, it'll definitely be like an exponential move.
For sure, and it's moving well off the $20 support. It's at 26 right now, and there's an upper resistance around 31, just for anybody wondering.
Sounds good. Let's see what some of these other questions are looking like. All right, so we have Muscle saying, remember when pre-market green meant a good, yeah, he said, remember when pre-market was green meant a good day. So, yeah, I remember that. And then we have Muscle talking about NVIDIA, AMD, ARC, and ARC-G. So let's take a look at these ones. NVIDIA was moving decently over the past couple days. It wasn't really moving too much, to be honest. They've been consolidating right around like that 610 level for like the past 2 weeks. So I have my eyes on it. I wanted it to fall so I could do some cash secured puts on it though. AMD, if we look at AMD, they're not really doing anything. Also, they had good earnings yesterday, but they couldn't hold those levels. We look at ARKK, they're not really doing anything. ARKG, kind of the same story.
Yep, and all these ARC stocks, just keep in mind that it looks like with the overall economy, just keep in mind, like the SPY and some of these stocks are still pretty high, and they still could come down. And if that happens, some of these ARK stocks could also come down. But I do like ARKG. Right now, it is a little bit lower than the others, and it is also genomics. I can't remember the right pronunciation. It's either genomics or genomics, but it's one or the other. But it's a very interesting stock, and Cathie Wood has talked a lot about this in the past as well. So if you want to see an interesting video, go look up Cathie Wood genomic video on YouTube, and I think it's a pretty interesting watch. It's about 40 minutes long, but there's a lot of information in there she goes over.
Sounds great. I'm just trying to see what's moving today, Tom. I'm scanning for a couple different plays, but I was really looking at Enphase. I was really hoping it continued down. I don't have puts, but I'm looking to short puts. I really would like to buy some shares this one and hold it for the long term. Really what I wanted was like a break below like 145, maybe like 140. That would be awesome. And then sell some out of the money puts. In my opinion, that would be a total win-win. It's not too late for it. I'm just, I'm hoping that it falls so I could take advantage of those high put premiums.
Yeah, definitely. And out of a stock like ENPH, that's going to be a pretty good one for the longer term as well, given what they do. And it's just one of those stocks that could be awesome. Even if you do get assigned, it'll be a great stock for the longer term, I think. And it's too bad that those premiums didn't pop. I mean, we see the IV going down. It's too bad we didn't see it go up, kind of like we saw in the past over here. That would have been very nice, actually, Mike. You could have gotten some great premiums, and it had a huge gap down as well. And I'm sure the premiums went up a little bit, but definitely not as much as they could have.
Sounds great. In a situation or a setup that is similar to this one is Pinterest. I'm not as bullish as I am with Enphase with it, but Pinterest, they actually fell a lot on earnings yesterday, and it looks like they can definitely continue down for like the next 2 days. So this might actually end up being like a good put play, like a put day trade. They have support right around 66, and then right after that they have support right around like $65.83, and then $65. So they're definitely on my radar. I think it definitely has potential to continue down. Like if we look at like other times where it has a big red candle, normally it normally continues for a couple days.
Yeah, it usually does. And if we go and look at that, you can see how that usually happens. And right now we're only on like the second day of this gap down. So hopefully it can keep going. Like you said, it's really looking bearish to me. It's below this 100 SMA. It's starting to fall below some key supports. If it really falls below that like 65 level, like you said, I think we'd be looking at it in a whole different spectrum to the downside. I think it'll really start to move pretty quickly. Let's go to that 1 minute chart. It's actually starting to go down pretty good today. Even it has lows right around 66.40. So if we do keep going down here and we break 66.40 to the downside, just look for it to keep going. And here we go. It's actually doing it right now, running all the way down to like 66.35. So we are seeing that good downwards movement out of it. But at the same time, it's still on the daily. Like you said, it looks like there's a lot more potential here, possibly all the way down to like $60 even.
Yeah, I actually really like this setup. I'm looking at some of the put premiums, and what's interesting is, so Pins is technically still up on the day, and right now the calls and the puts are down for tomorrow's expiration, even for next week's expiration. So I'm just kind of like looking through some of these put options right now to, see some of the liquid ones. The 66 strike puts for next week look pretty decent. I actually kind of like this setup. I'm just looking at some of the fills. I actually like the setup. I'm thinking about jumping in.
Yeah, I mean, why not, right? It's a pretty good stock. Get it for the longer term if it doesn't work out, but if not, it's still looking pretty decent here. Let's see, $65. Yeah, I think 65 in the shorter term is going to be the biggest level to look out for. Wouldn't you agree, Mike? It seems like 65 is one that's been touched in the past the most. We did hit 65.83 yesterday, so just watch out for that as well. I mean, we did hit the 1,000 SMA this morning. It's not looking good for Pinterest, unfortunately. And on the daily setup, you don't usually get setups like this where it's this defined, and it even had like a key double top up here around $90. So it's just one of those stocks where it looks like it really fall over the next few months, and it's just a very unfortunate thing actually for a stock like this. But there's a lot of stocks that are high like this that could happen, that this could happen to. And we kind of saw it happen like with Apple even over the past few months. They did end up recovering, of course, because they're Apple, but they were down quite a bit and consolidating. And I know that a lot of people and institutions were buying them up and selling a ton of puts down here.
So, like, the ideal way I would like to play this one is, maybe like a quick, maybe couple day short term swing trade with puts on Pinterest, or maybe even like a day trade. And then, if it does continue to fall, then go ahead and then short like out of the money puts. So then it could be like a kind of like a double win win. So, one, I would like day trade puts or short term swing trade on the puts, but then after it continues down, maybe like once it like tests like $62 to like $61, go ahead and sell out of the money put options as cash secured puts. So if it continues to fall more, then I just buy shares at a low price, and if it doesn't, I just collect the premium. So it's just a setup I'm looking at. We have Matthew asking about CLOV. Let's take a look at it. It's up around 9% today. It's definitely running up. It actually broke that high of day pretty well this morning. It looks like it's struggling a little bit around like $11.77. What do you think?
Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Hopefully, it can keep going up. It's still bullish to me. This is just a little bit of a pullback. I think. I think it'll keep going up. It really looks like it can keep going up today. I really like the momentum out of this stock. Even the IV today popped over like 12% at open, so that's even good to see as well. And it did that yesterday also. So just watch out. You can see how yesterday it kind of had some key pullbacks before it kept going up. So we might be in that area today. It could keep going down though. Just always be prepared. But it does have pullbacks on the way up, like we saw yesterday.
Alrighty, and then we have Hunter asking about OSTK. Let's take a look. Oh, wow, 16.5%. They actually hit highs of 88. Right now it's sitting right around 82. Oh, yeah, it's definitely running up. Did they actually report earnings yet? I can't tell. It says...
Yeah, Overstock.com, they reported, but I just can't see the numbers here on Thinkorswim. They're not on here yet. Maybe they didn't report, but I'd say they did given the pop that we saw, and that's amazing out of Overstock. They were actually down quite a bit from their highs. I mean, their highs were like 110, 130 for a great stock like Overstock.com, and they were all the way down before this pop at $70, and this is an amazing rise. I think it was up around 20% plus at the highs there around $88, and that's honestly just an amazing move. And sometimes we see these e-commerce sites like Overstock.com just report great earnings, and this is what we like to see. And there we go. Thinkorswim just updated it. The EPS estimated was 0.065, and they got 0.56 actual. So they had a 6-cent estimate, and they ended up with a 56-cent EPS. So that's destroying their numbers. Almost up like, wow, that's almost like an 1,000% increase there over it, but not quite, but almost.
Yeah, for sure. And then I'm just going to pull up some of these numbers right here. Yeah, like you said, they actually reported some really good earnings. So, yeah, I guess it makes sense why they're up almost 16.5%. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a continuation out of this one, too. They do have resistance right around $90, but I think they have a lot of potential to run.
Yeah, that's insane seeing an EPS estimated that low, and then you're hitting 56 cents. No wonder they're running, like you said. It's a great stock. I don't know what to think of this setup right now with how hard they pulled back. It's definitely going to be a volatile stock. It'll probably be very hard to trade today. You can see how this IV has been shooting like up and down by like 5% today. So just be careful. It looks like a very volatile play.
All right, we have Bank of America running up. We have SPY not really doing anything. We have Apple pulling back a ton. Wow. So actually, let me pull this up real quick. All right. So then we have some of these questions. We have Slick. Good morning, Slick. He said, is the SPY going to fall? Let's take a look at the SPY. It's actually struggling a little bit, Tom. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. It's right around 420 right now, 419.98. I mean, it's starting to fall below these SMAs too. Personally, given how much we rose yesterday, I'm not surprised that it's starting to come down a little bit today. At open, we initially saw good green momentum, and it just tanked right off. And we're seeing that with a bunch of stocks right now, where a lot of them are pulling back intraday. But it looks like it is starting to hold 420. Hopefully, it can hold that and keep going up. I mean, 420 has been a pretty key level. A lot of people were talking about hitting it this week, and finally we did hit that and finally go above it even, and now we're just consolidating right there. Personally, I think that we might hold this to just be slightly neutral on this. I think we might just kind of consolidate here. I don't see the market going up or down too much either way right now. That's just a personal opinion, just because we're seeing a lot of stocks up today, a lot of stocks pulling back. So it just seems like that out of everything, it seems like the stock is kind of, or the overall market's kind of like in the middle here, kind of undecided today. Doesn't really know what to think. I mean, overnight, we saw Biden really push the markets up, and now we're seeing the markets kind of come back down. So it's kind of, I think they're kind of like looking at the news here and kind of processing what's going on, and just to see what what kind of movement we're going to even see over the next couple days. This is honestly some pretty crazy movement on the SPY. Hopefully it's starting to go back up now. It's holding 420, so that's always a good sign. Looks like we're going to be heading up towards highs again, which is great.
All right, so guys, thank you guys so much for joining us. Let us know what stocks you're watching, and Tom and I will cover them. We have Keith asking about Walmart. Let's check it out, Tom. They're actually really running up this morning. A lot of huge green candles. They're up around 1% on the day. They bounce off of that 138 support really well, and they're running up with a lot of momentum. Their next major resistance is actually right around like 139.50, you can say. And I'm trying to pull up a couple more levels. And then right after 139.50, it looks like we have some chop like around like 140.50. So overall, it looks pretty good. But with Walmart, I actually found something very interesting, and it's actually very surprising. So Walmart actually has a really high percentage short float. So 25% of Walmart's float is short. So that's pretty interesting in my opinion. For a value stock like Walmart, I just wasn't expecting something like that. So, you know, I guess just be on the lookout for that. I doubt we would see a short squeeze with Walmart, but it's definitely not good to see all that downwards pressure.
Yeah, that is kind of crazy. A short float of like 25% plus on a value stock like Walmart. I mean, come on, like how does that even happen, you know? Some people must be really looking at this maybe to the downside. I personally wouldn't. It looks like they're growing pretty well this year. They are below some SMAs, which is not very good, but at the same time, it is Walmart and it does generally do well over the longer term. They did just have a pretty big dip from around 150 all the way down to around 126, 125 down here. So hopefully, it can keep going up here back to highs of like 153. I personally think that they will. They do have dividends coming up, which might hurt them very slightly on May 6th, but that'll just be a very slight hurt for Walmart. It won't hurt them too bad. They do have earnings though on May 18th, and I think that's where we're going to see the big move out of Walmart, but I think we'll just have to see what happens. But until then, Walmart's been actually pretty flat over the past couple weeks, just trying to stay around this 140 level, not really deviating too far, maybe a dollar or two away, but overall it's been right around 140 for the past couple weeks, just kind of coiling up here. So maybe these guys are expecting a good move.
Sounds great. And then let's check out some of these other questions. We have Muscle saying Square is almost at the 50-day moving average. When do you think is a buy point? So, Tom, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it is right around the 200 or the 50-day, like you said. And I mean, that's a pretty key level. And we also have the 260 resistance up here. I'm not sure I'd buy in right now. It looks like it's getting rejected off of that resistance. Yeah, it's actually hit that this morning and then came right down. So be a little careful of 260. If we do pass above that, maybe get in. If you're getting shares, it's not really ever a bad time with a stock like Square that should be pretty good for the longer term. As long as you're averaging in and you know what to do, you could buy some shares at like 255. And if it goes down to 200, you could buy more shares, or you could even sell a cash secured put that could help you average in down there as well. There's just a whole bunch of different scenarios, but as of right now, I would wait for it to kind of fall off of 260 and then maybe do a cash secure put if it starts to fall.
All right, so apparently we have some EV stocks getting destroyed. Let's take a look at NIO. It's down around 1% today, but it had a lot of selling pressure at open. Even if we look at Tesla, they're technically up on the day, but they definitely have a lot of selling pressure. Let's look at some of these charging stocks, Tom. CHPT down almost 2% today. It's really really starting to tank, honestly. Then we have BLNK also falling down, so that doesn't look good. We're seeing a lot of selling pressure from these EVs. So do you see any support levels, or do you have any thoughts on this situation?
Yeah, not a good thing to see. I mean, out of charge point, this is one I was really looking at, hoping it would go up because of that big short float, and it still could over the next few days. But in pre-market, it like double topped at that 27.88 high of the other day. It got to around 27.60 today in pre-market, 27.64. So it didn't quite get up that high, but it was very close. And then we're just tanking off now. I would say make it break this double top before getting in once again. So if it breaks 27.88 or even breaks $28, then I'd really look at getting into ChargePoint and BLNK. But it's very unfortunate to see. I know a lot of people were kind of hopping in yesterday with the hype, but it could still always go up today. There's still room, but there, just like you said, a lot of selling pressure came into these, unfortunately. And whenever we go look at stocks like NIO, it's just not looking too good out of these EV stocks. NIO has a low and support down here somewhere around $40.50. So watch out, it's getting really close to that. And if we break that, it might go a lot lower.
All right, and we have Jerry saying Lucid too. So CCIV, yeah, we're seeing a lot of selling pressure from these EVs today. Here's the thing, like if it does continue to fall, like NIO, CCIV, BLNK, CHPT, Tesla even, in my opinion, it could be a win-win situation as long as you sell cash secured puts. Like I feel like this entire sector is, just bound to grow over like the next couple of years. So, if it's like a short-term pullback, I think that could be a pretty good opportunity for like the next couple of years. And then with the next question, we have media saying, let's see, XELB squeezing today or tomorrow, be prepared. XELB. So let's take a look. XELB, let me pull this up. So it looks like this is a $1.90 stock. We don't really trade penny stocks. If you're in it, hopefully it pops for you. It's been trending up slow and steady for like the past year, so hopefully it pops for you. Then we have B saying, can you take a look at NOK and BB? So NOK is actually looking pretty good. It's up around 12.5% today. I know we have a couple members really holding this one for the long term, like some leaps and stuff, but maybe we might see a continuation out of this one. What do you think?
Yeah, we might. Unfortunately, it hit that $5 support or $5 resistance, I should say, in pre-market, and now it's coming down pretty hard off of that at 472 right now. Overall, though, it was a great pop this morning on earnings. It just failed to break above that $5 level, which it's had a lot of problems with in the past. And I don't know what to think about it. I'd say if you're going to day trade it or something, make it break above $5 before getting any calls on it. That's a pretty key level. If it breaks above $5 and we go back to that daily chart, you can see the last time it broke $5, it ran up to $9.50 during that GameStop situation. So it definitely has potential to keep going here. And given what they're doing with earnings and this pop that we saw, it could be a continuation play. But just for the rest of today, it looks like they're going to consolidate and fail to break above $500 or $5, I should say.
Alrighty, and then we have, let's see. Oh, what about BB? What do you think about BB?
Oh yeah, BlackBerry. Wow, yeah, this one popped in pre-market a little bit. It's pulling back now. I think there's a pretty good support at $9.30. It's honestly looking like it might go to the downside today. So if it breaks 930 to the downside, maybe look at playing some puts. But if we go to that daily chart, it actually bounced off the 1,000 SMA and the support pretty decently, and it's been coming back up. I know that we've been seeing some stuff like, let's go look at AMC. Yeah, like even AMC's kind of been coming back up over the past few days, and GameStop as well. So I think that's just the main reason why BlackBerry and these other ones are coming up also. I think if we see GameStop, AMC, and these other hype stocks continue to fly, then I think it'll drag like BlackBerry and the others up with it. But unless they have a big catalyst like Nokia did this morning, I don't think that they're going to move all on their own.
All right, and then we have Matthew saying, what is looking like the strongest sector for today? And I would definitely say banks. I'm looking at a lot of bank stocks right now, and they're starting to pop up. We have JP Morgan up around 1.2%. We have Wells Fargo up around 2% too. We have Bank of America up around 2.5%. So it looks like right now that's the strongest sector, even though the market's pulling back a little bit. So definitely watch out for that. And then, Tom, ENPH is moving down. I might get my opportunities with some cash secured puts.
Yeah, there we go. Broke the low of yesterday. There we go. 144.10 at the low right now. Pretty good movement. Let's go to that daily chart. I think if we get below like that 140 level, you could probably really get some good premiums on some on some puts all the way out to like 120, maybe even 100. I mean, I don't know how far out you can go, but man, that's pretty good looking actually on ENPH. Hopefully it goes down like maybe tomorrow again, so then you could do maybe two of them. But man, it's looking like a great opportunity here. Hopefully we can keep going down today. What are we at right now? Let's see. We're at 144.30, so it's trying to bounce back up a little bit, but overall still looking great.
I think the ideal scenario for me is like if we see like a huge red candle today, or maybe not huge, but like if we see like Enphase down maybe like 4.5%, 5%, I can sell a put that expires tomorrow that's really far out of the money. And then what I could do is towards the end of day tomorrow, because it'll be an expiration day, I can buy that put back and then sell a put that expires next week. So I think because then I could collect premiums like twice on it, because I can really take advantage of the expiration tomorrow. So that would only really be possible if we see ENPH continue to fall today. But if we do see that, I'm probably gonna do that, because I really wouldn't mind holding this one for the long term. And especially if it's down so much on earnings, I think it'll be a good opportunity to take advantage of those high premiums. Looks like we have Pinterest coming down too. They are retesting that low of day yesterday, right around like $65.83. It looks like it acted as a pretty strong support earlier, though.
Yeah, and what level would you look for on ENPH for it to hit before you get these premiums, like 142, 141, somewhere around there?
I would say maybe like around like 141, ideally. You know what I mean? Like the lower the better.
Yeah,
The lower
yeah,
the better.
for sure.
So the main thing is just to put premiums, because if this stock just slowly falls down to like 140, like very slow and choppy movement, the put premiums won't really rise. But like if we see like a strong pullback, then these put premiums might be like overextended, and I can sell puts that are super far out of the money that expire tomorrow, get some decent premiums, and then basically cover those for $1 tomorrow, and then just sell puts that expire on May 7th, and just like being like a total win-win scenario. So we'll see what happens. It's just a potential setup, so we will see. And then let's see, with the next questions we have Slick saying, if EV is selling off like this is obviously the perfect buy opportunity for the long term. Yeah, I agree with you. When all of these sell-offs happen, that's when you want to buy the dip. Everyone loves to hype up these stocks when they're like when NIO is at like $60 or goes from 50 to 60 in like a couple weeks. So yeah, I totally agree with you. And then we have Sean saying, F got destroyed. Someday I'll learn not to play earnings. Let's check it out. I didn't even look at this one. Wow. Yeah, it's down around 10%. Bad earnings. IV's rising. Damn, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I personally think that Ford was just up so much this year that it would have taken some crazy earnings to make them keep going. Unfortunately, they went right down. Looks like a pretty good head and shoulders play actually with this high up here all the way around 1364. It might have went higher in pre-market that day, but it looks like a pretty good play. We have a support down here around 1118, 1115, so watch out for that intraday. It looks like it. Let's go look at the 1 minute. I think it bounced off of that. Yeah, so right around 1118 it kind of bounced, so hopefully it can kind of go back up today. But that was some bad movement out of earnings, I will say. Let's go look at their EPS. It was 0.89 actual versus a 0.16 estimate. So they beat their estimates, but I heard that Ford is actually going to be shutting down production for a whole month or something like that because they lost parts, or there's a chip shortage going on and they can't get the parts that they need to build the vehicles even. So it looks like they're going to have to shut at least parts of their factory down, I heard. And that's a pretty bad sign, and that's probably why they're going down, is their outlook for the future there. But the thing is Ford's up a lot this year. They hit $4 whenever COVID happened last year. Now they hit $12 plus. So that's 300% gain right there out of a pretty simple stock like Ford. And people really missed this opportunity, honestly. I mean, Ford was pretty good for the long term there, and I think a lot of people were looking at it for a possible EV play as they were coming out with like the EV Mustang and coming out with a whole bunch of different stuff. And it's a bad thing to see today though, and them shutting down production like that is a pretty big problem. And let's go check out GM really quick too, because they've been doing well. And yeah, even GM is down a lot today, and they have earnings coming up in a few days, and I wouldn't be surprised if they get hurt as well, because they're probably going to have the same production problems Ford's having.
Very interesting. So let us know what stocks you guys are watching. Let's see what's moving right now. We have Disney moving to the upside. Yeah, they're actually getting pretty close to their high of day. We have eBay just tanking, Tom. What do you think about this one? It's like really tanking down around 11.5%.
I'm actually surprised here. I would have thought eBay would have been doing great lately, and they even beat their EPS and they're still going down, but we see that happening. They didn't beat as much as some of these other stocks did, but just a very bad situation here. They hit $66 just like a couple weeks ago. Now they're at 55. Now this could start to be a good opportunity for some puts here if it keeps going down. On this max weekly chart, I mean, they are still pretty high overall. So they hit their all-time highs a couple weeks ago at that 65 level, and now they're coming down. Maybe look for like a pretty good resistance slash support down here around $52. If they come down to that, watch for a pretty good bounce, but it's not looking good for eBay, unfortunately. They're up a lot over the past like 10 years. And whenever you're up this much, just keep in mind that we're going to have pullbacks like this, especially whenever you have earnings and these big catalysts like this.
All righty. And let's see, we have Muscle saying GM is on my watch list as they have a ramp up for electric vehicles. The 2023 Cadillac EV is impressive. I didn't even see that, Tom. I remember that we like talked about it like a while ago in like one of our videos, but I think that might be a good opportunity. Like, I know a lot of people, when they think EVs, they love to resort to Tesla, and I love Tesla, but I think it wouldn't hurt to diversify.
Yeah, for sure. And even though the 2023 Cadillac's impressive, I'm going to be impressed, like, because they've been talking about like electric Chevy Silverados, and I think that's going to be huge as well. I know that the Silverados are huge sellers for Chevy, and F-150s are for the Ford. So I think that the electric trucks will be huge as well. I know that those new Cadillacs look amazing, though. The inside look really good, and I mean, you talked about it a little bit, but yeah, a lot of people really missed the opportunities here on these. I mean, we saw General Motors and Ford really explode this year, and this was solely due to EV news here, guys. And this is really what happens, these stocks that are established like GM and Ford, you got to keep in mind that these like the guys like us, for example, who trade stocks and are kind of younger and we're into technology, we really appreciate the Tesla cars and we appreciate the computer in there and everything like that. But some of these older people who can barely work their phone, that they're not going to be able to work these newer cars, and they don't even understand it. They don't trust the technology even. So I think that for the majority of people, like GM and Ford are probably going to be what grows the most, unfortunately. Even though Tesla pioneered the technology and came out with everything, GM and Ford are probably going to reap the most benefits out of it.
Very interesting. I don't know. I mean, I know that there's a ton of huge Tesla fans. I'm a Tesla fan. Like, it just hurts. Like, I know that a lot of people say Tesla is more of a technology company than a car company. And like, I haven't even checked their price to earnings. Let me check, because Tesla price to earnings ratio 2021. So it looks like they have, like, at their high point, it looks like their price to earnings is like 1,400 to 1. So like, in my opinion, it's just like hard to pay for, shares at such a high level. I'm sure they'll do fine for the long term. I'm just kind of waiting for a pullback, but I'm not sure if we will ever see that.
Yeah, you mean out of Tesla, right?
Yeah, out of Tesla.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, we're all the way up here around like $700, $900, and before this split, what were we at? Wasn't it at like 2,500, Mike?
Yeah, so I think they did a 5-for-1 split. So let's take their high, which was like 900 times 5. So what is that? 900 times 5 is like 4,500. So yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they really ran up. So I don't know. I like them for the long term. I know they're super volatile, and I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a pullback. I mean, I like them for the long term. I'm sure they will do just fine. We have Mark saying FDX is doing well. Let's take a look. They're probably running off. Yeah, they're actually running up with that UPS earnings. So it looks pretty good. It's up around 1.5% right now. Looks like they have a pretty strong resistance, like right around like 295.
Yeah, they do have a good resistance there, and it looks like they're heading right up to that today. And honestly, this setup looks great out of FedEx. I love those two little green consolidation candles yesterday, and this green candle today looks like it's really going to break that high of yesterday. Let's go check out the 5-day 15-minute. It just barely broke the high of yesterday today and then started coming down. So I'd say if it can break 292.46, it could be a pretty good day trade, possibly with some calls all the way up maybe to that resistance at like 295.
Sounds good. And let's check in. Enphase is just not really doing anything right now. It's still down around 2% on the day. We have Pinterest kind of lingering right around that support at like $66. And then we have Hunter saying Teladoc is falling out of the sky. Let's check it out. Down around 10%. You're right, Hunter. I actually missed a lot of these earnings plays. It's actually a good call out. Might be good for some cash secured puts. Let's check out the put premiums. Yeah, it's not bad. It's definitely not bad. Let me check out their max weekly. Yeah, it doesn't look bad. It might even be like a good day trade intraday.
Yeah, definitely. They got a pretty good support longer term here, right around like 166, 167. So really watch out. We're getting really close to that today. Unfortunately, it looks like it's going to keep going down and possibly break that. I don't know. We'll just have to see if it bounces there or not. But either way, it's going to be great. Those premiums are going up. So I know it's definitely going to open up some opportunities there.
Sounds good. So yeah, guys, let us know what stocks you're watching. We have Starbucks creeping up. We have Teladoc tanking. Yeah, let us know what stocks you're watching. Let's check in
Go check
on
out SPCE. Let's see
right.
that one.
Let's see.
Yeah, SPCE is actually hitting off resistance there at around $24. Let's see it on the 15-minute chart. Yeah, going down. I know that was terrible how Richard Branson sold off all of his shares. And, everyone keeps saying this one's my favorite stock. And it might have been for a couple weeks, but man, it's definitely not anymore. That's pretty terrible news how he sold off all those shares. And I think Kathy Wood even sold some shares. So it's not looking good for SPCE at all. And really, I mean, they're not even a real space stock. They're just like a tourist stock. So it's not really as big as it could have been. And whenever they were going up, it was just off of test flight hype and stuff like that.
We have Star saying OSTK, so it's up around 14% today. Looks like it's pulling back right around that $80 support level. So yeah, I mean, this might be like a decent play for like a continuation, but I can definitely see it continuing up for like over like the next couple months. Today, I feel like it's a 50-50, but like over the next couple months, I think there's a good shot we at least retest like 100 or so.
Yeah, I would think so too. And it looks very good, actually. I mean, great out of overstock. I don't know what to think today. Very volatile. It's kind of holding these levels down here around $80. So that $80 support looks very good. Intraday, if we hold this, it could be pretty good. And the highs are all the way up at 88. So if we do see a good move, there could be a lot of potential here for some calls, or even if you get shares, a good trade like from 81 up to 84 or 85 is honestly pretty good. A good 4-point move out of shares is decent for a day trade.
Sounds good. And then we have Jerry saying Palantir is down 2%. Let's check it out. Yeah, they've been stuck in this range since like, what is this, like the late February. They've just been going back and forth between like $21 and like 26. So they're not really doing anything. I'd love to see a breakout soon, whether it's the upside or the downside, but it's not really doing anything. They do have IV rising a little bit today, so might not be bad for like some puts that like expire soon, but I don't know. They're stuck in the middle of that range and they're not doing anything.
Yeah, that range is really good. The support's at 21. They have a really high upper resistance at 28. They have a kind of a lower one there around 26. I don't know what to think. Intraday, it looks like you said, it's coming down. It just fell below this small little support here. I don't know what to think about it. Hopefully it can kind of come back up intraday, but honestly, I was hoping it would go up, but still, if it goes back down, it'll just create more cash secure put opportunities on this one.
All right, and then we have Matthew asking about Home Depot. I mean, this stock, it has so many buyers. Like, I remember so many times I was looking at it like, all right, is this a top? Is now the time to buy puts? But it seems like every single dip just gets, bought up. So it's a powerhouse. I know that I know that they're definitely doing pretty good right now with everything going on in the housing market and like lumber prices and all that stuff. So I can kind of see why they're running up, but for me, and this is just me, always trust your own gut. I feel like it's not worth shorting this one, and it's not even worth going long at this point. Like, it's already up so much. Like, I feel like it's not even worth the risk of buying into it for like a swing trade. And at the same time, I feel like it has so many buyers that it's not worth buying puts or shorting it. So, like if you're holding it for the long term, it could be good, but I don't know. I'm just going to stay neutral on it. If anything, maybe like a quick day trade, but I'm just going to be neutral overall.
Yeah, definitely. And over the past few days, there's a pretty good support around 319 to 320. So watch out, 319. It's hit off of about 3 or 4 times over the past few days. So that's going to be a pretty good support there. And we're going up very well today, actually, on Home Depot. And I know a lot of people were looking at this to the downside in Discord. I know I was for sure. And it's just a very strange thing to see it keep going up. Like you said, so many buyers come into this. If you want to day trade it to the downside, I think that would be the way to go because, like we see so much, we see so many scenarios where the stock will just be flat, or for example, it'll go up and then maybe go down really quickly at open and then the next day get recovered right back up. So it's just one of those stocks where it always recovers, has a lot of buyers coming in, but it does have some good opportunities, I think, for calls. If you guys can buy around supports, you have to be pretty disciplined though and get in at the right times. And this is a stock I think that really requires a lot of timing because the way it goes up and the way it goes down, you can see how it came down to support and then gapped up during pre-market and then went up. So it would have been best to buy the calls obviously down here yesterday at close. So that would have been the way to go. And you would have had to pretty much guess that the market, recovered the way it did, but it was right there at support, which is the main thing to look at. And you would have had to trust your gut and just buy on that level.
So Matthew said that he's going long. It looks like it's breaking out of a bullish flag, and it does. And always trust your gut. It definitely looks like it's running up right now. Always trust your gut. Let us know how it goes. And then we have Adam saying, do you guys like CLOV? So they have like a 36% short float. So there is potential for this thing to squeeze. I mean, the short float isn't as high as like ChargePoint, but there's definitely potential for it to squeeze. I like it right now. I don't love it. I think it has potential to continue to run up. The premiums are pretty high, so just be careful with that because, you can buy calls and this thing can rise and you can still get screwed over because of, how high that implied volatility is. It's up around 7% today and the options are only up like 44%. So just the only thing I would say is just watch out for that IV.
Yep, and there's an upper resistance here around 1170 to $12 that it kind of hit today and then came down off of. So just be careful of that as well. But if we do keep seeing good momentum, it will probably break that to the upside if we see the good momentum come in. But I personally, I would rather look at stuff like ChargePoint or BLNK, just because those stocks at least have good fundamentals for the longer term. This chart just is not as good to me, how it fell from 17 down to 6. Now we're at 11. I think that ChargePoint and Blink are a little bit safer because if you get stuck with them for the longer term, I just think it's a little safer.
All right, so we actually have Stars saying Microsoft is tanking. Thank you for pointing that out to me because I was actually watching Microsoft for some cash secured puts too. So it's actually definitely tanking intraday. They're getting really close to that support at like 252. So yeah, definitely thank you so much for pointing that out. If it continues to fall, like if those put premiums rise, I will definitely be selling some puts on this one to take advantage of that high IV. I'm just going to add this to my notes real quick for some cash secured puts. But yeah, I really like that setup. We might even see some opportunities for like potential put day trade today. So definitely be on the lookout for that. Then we have Young saying, good morning, guys. I am holding the Qualcomm yet, looking at Snap and Apple for buying shares. Do you ever do crypto? I'm holding some Doge. So we don't really do crypto too much. I like Bitcoin for the long term and Ethereum too. Honestly, I mainly stick to stocks and options, but I'm not against crypto or anything like that. And then he said he's looking at Snap and Apple for buying shares. So I like both of those stocks, especially Apple. They're definitely a powerhouse, as we saw with their earnings yesterday. Snap is also doing pretty well. So, Tom, do you have any input here?
Yeah, let's go check out Snap. I think that's going to be a pretty good one over the next few years. But on this daily, it's getting pretty rejected here around the $64 to $65 level. It looked like it was going to finally break it. It's coming up and touching it for the third time ever since mid March here. And I think that we will see this finally break up above this sometime here over the next few weeks. But we'll have to see what happens. It's hitting that and falling pretty well today. So maybe look out for a continuation to the downside tomorrow if it can break below $61. But as of right now, it's kind of between a range between 61 and 64. So just be a little bit careful. I don't know which way we're going to see this one go here. I would say I'm just neutral to bearish on this one. if anything. But over the next few weeks, if it does break this high, I'm going to really be watching it for a quick run up to like 69 or 70 though.
All right, and then we have Matthew saying Mara is at the 50 EMA. Let's check it out. I was actually looking at this one for some cash secured puts too. I would really like to see it fall more though to get those premiums higher. Tom, I know that you look at the EMAs and stuff. So what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm actually looking at the 100 SMA right here on the daily. It hit right around this and then came right up. Also right on this $30 support, and it's looking pretty good. It came up and hit 35. I don't know what to think today. Yesterday was a really good day for this stock, and it just now it's just pulling back. So it's starting to run up right now. Look for intraday resistance around $36, but for the longer run, I think Mara can be good if you can get in at the right time. And on the daily, I think somewhere right around that $30 support or the 100 SMA could have been a pretty good time. But the main thing is that we have to see continuation out of Bitcoin. You know, whenever we go to /BTC and look at Bitcoin futures on the daily chart, it's honestly not looking too good right now. I think Bitcoin, it looks like it's starting to possibly curl back off here to the downside. You know, we're having two red candles in a row, hit this upper resistance around 56,000 to 57,000. Now we might start to come back down, maybe look for a retest of the support around 45,000. I don't know what to think about this one, but it does look like it's starting to get some downwards momentum. And if it does, it's definitely going to hurt MARA and Riot.
Sounds good. So yeah, guys, let us know what stocks you're watching. I'm really hoping Enphase continues down. You know, it looks like they're just kind of lingering right around its low of day, but I have my eyes on it. Microsoft is also on my list for some cash secured puts. It looks like that one is getting closer to that support around 252. I also have NEO on the cash secured put list. And I even have UPS for a potential call credit spread. We can see that they rose from like 174 all the way up to 201 over like the past 3 days. So I just have my eyes on them. And then we have Piper saying, hey Mike and Tom, hey Mike and Tom, I'm a little late to the party. The whole market is falling. What's going on? So we actually broke all-time highs on the SPY this morning. I didn't see any major catalysts for why the market's pulling back. I think it's just, you know, it's just like a normal pullback, it looks to me. I'm not seeing any crazy news or anything like that right now. So it just looks like it's pulling back off of all of the run up from this morning. EVs are falling though, so that's definitely having an impact. Like Tesla is down. Tesla's not even down that much, but you know, we're just not seeing a ton of like super bullish momentum. Apple reported amazing earnings, and look what they did today. Like they're about to go from green to red. So, you know, we're just not seeing a ton of, you know, super like strong momentum, you can say. So I would say like that's just like the biggest catalyst.
Yeah, me too. And it's just a very unfortunate thing to see. I hate to see these stocks like Tesla and NEO keep going down. Tesla's really under that $700 support today. It just failed to stay above that at open, which was unfortunate. Now it's coming down. I'd say, you know, if Tesla can break this pre-market low today of around 692, you need to be, or actually that's the after hours low of yesterday, but 692 either way, that's going to be a very bad move, I think, to the downside. Really watch out for that intraday today. I think it could be a pretty good opportunity for some puts. There is a low from a few days ago around 691.54, but overall, I think breaking below 692 would be pretty good. We're right below $700 support, and we're bouncing off that 100 SMA to the downside. So overall, I think Tesla looks like it might start falling, and even on the daily chart, it's honestly just not setting up good at all. And we've been seeing a lot of people talking about shorting Tesla lately, like Michael Burry and stuff like that. And I know that they were in up here around 900, and I'm sure they took profits already, but just on the daily, looking at what we're seeing and how Tesla fell on earnings and stuff with all the chip shortages and everything as well, it's just not looking good. And it looks like they're going to keep going to the downside here. They just actually fell down. They just fell below 690 with a huge red candle, which is unfortunate. Wow, all the way to 691, not looking good, looking like Tesla is really going to keep falling down. They really just fell out of that range. It's very unfortunate. I think we're going to see the SPY keep going down too, as well as the QQQ, which is just not good. I'm sure NIO is going to be posting red off of this as well. And yes, it is all the way down to 39.80, Mike. There you go. Look at that IV going up for you too, all the way to maybe 72.5%.
I like it. I like it. Let's see the same thing with Enphase, Pinterest, Neo, like you said, Mara, maybe UPS continuing up. But yeah, I like it. Oh, especially Microsoft. I'd love to get some cash secured puts on Microsoft. We can see that they're breaking that low, like that support right around like 252. So their IV's starting to creep up. So I definitely have my eyes on it. But then one thing I wanted to point out is, well, actually two things. One is, guys, remember, everyone loves to hype up stocks when they're breaking all-time highs, but no one loves to hype them up when they're pulling back, right? So, if you like NIO, right, and you wish you got in when you saw it at $60, remember, this stock is only at, what is it, like $39 right now. So, while these stocks are falling, ideally, if you like them for the long term, now's the time to buy. So always trust your own gut, but I just wanted to send that reminder for everyone. And then the second thing is I actually saw some golden sweeps come in on IWM. So I didn't get a chance to fully analyze these ones yet. It might be like a put debit spread, but I think it was like over like, what was it, like 8.7. Here, let me check. I just did the calculation. Give me 1 second. Let me pull this up. 1 second. So it looks like we saw around $8.2 million flow into IWM puts that expire like in June 18th at the 219 strike price. These can easily be a hedge, but maybe they're not a hedge. Maybe someone knows IWM's going to pull back and we might see a huge fall through with IWM. Like I said, I didn't get a chance to fully analyze it just yet, but they're definitely opening the position. So it's they're either selling them for puts where they want to buy IWM, or they're buying those puts and they're going to see the stock fall.
Yeah, that's a huge play actually on the Russell. And Mike, I actually just found a pretty good article on CNBC that I think I'm going to pull up here for everyone real quick. And this might really have an effect on the market right now. Consumer fueled economy pushes GDP to 6.4% first quarter gain, the best quarter since the second quarter of 2003. So that's actually pretty insane to see right now. And guess what's happening? The SPY in the market is going down. So of course we see good GDP numbers and the market goes down. Everything's crazy right now. Biden was talking last night. So I'm not sure if the market is going down right now, reacting to what he was saying yesterday or what Powell was talking about. I think we're going to have to really analyze this and see what the main factors are here causing the market to fall. I mean, I know that we have some earnings like Tesla and stuff like that causing it to fall, but some of them are going good at least. So I would think that, overall, some good earnings, some bad, but in the end, I would think that, it would push up. We did see Apple going down too, which is not too good, but at least they went up in after hours yesterday, which was decent. But overall, the overall market just really is pulling back today. Not good to see. It's hitting the 1,000 SMA right now on the 1 minute chart on the SPY. But overall, those GDP numbers, I think, were a pretty big deal today for the market. And, we're seeing a lot of movement today, whether it has to do with those speeches or the GDP numbers or what. But either way, it's moving pretty largely.
All right, and then we have Oliver saying SPY puts, lots of profit taking. So yeah, we're seeing a lot of, I don't really want to call it bearish movement, but it's just not bullish. Like we have Apple reporting amazing earnings, and now their stock's about to go red. So, I think we're just in like an interesting week. We had a lot of events happen this week, with Biden, with Powell, with earnings, and for the most part, we actually had some really good earnings, especially with Microsoft and Apple, and both of these stocks are kind of selling off right now. So it's just definitely an interesting week. Then we have Mark saying, do you have a resistance for FDX? Let's check it out. It is running up with UPS. One major resistance I see right now is at the $295 level, and then 300. If it breaks above 300, the next resistance would be right around $305.66, which is actually the all-time high.
Yeah, and 295, I think intraday today is going to be the main level to watch just for intraday. If we break above that, then watch for those higher levels. But overall, I love the break today. the break above 292 was awesome, all the way up now to 293.60, almost 293.80 right now. But pretty good moves out of FedEx. Like you said, it's really just following UPS up right now, and UPS is up a lot more than FedEx year over year, and that's just due to obviously UPS being a little bit bigger of a company. But overall, FedEx, they kind of double topped here around 300, so really watch out for that one in the future too if they break that high today.
Alrighty, and then we have Piper saying, can you guys look at Amazon? I believe they have earnings after close today, so I think they do, as well as NIO. That's one thing I have to watch out for with puts on NIO. I was going to sell some puts on them today, but thank you, Piper, for reminding me about the Amazon earnings, because NIO also reports after today, I believe. Yes, they do. So Amazon, let's take a look at them. They are up today. But remember, like, we're seeing a lot of great earnings, especially with Apple and Microsoft, and we're seeing the stocks pull back. So I would really just be careful if you're planning on playing calls or puts on it. It looks like even great news, we could see the stock pull back.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm actually opening up that little earnings tab really quick just to see what we got going. So yeah, after close today, we have Amazon, NIO, Twitter, US Steel, even Gilead and Western Digital. So that could be pretty interesting with WDC, which is Western Digital. Gilead's always a pretty big mover while COVID's going on. And Twitter's obviously a big one too. So look out for NIO, Amazon, Twitter. Those are the big three, really.
Sounds good. So let us know what stocks you're watching. I'm trying to see what's moving right now.
Let's go look at the heat map really quick.
Yeah, let's look at the heat map. So MRK's down around 4%. Wow, look at that. Let's check it out. MRK down around 4%. Oh, it's earnings, Tom. Oh, wow.
And yeah, of course. Of course it's earnings. Down on earnings. Let's see. Was it good earnings? No, it wasn't. They actually had bad earnings. They actually did not beat their estimate. So that's why they're going down. Let's see. Is there a good support they're coming up on the daily? Let's see. It looks like longer term, there's a pretty good support, maybe around $72 flat. Yeah, I'm seeing maybe $72 on it.
Sounds good. I was actually looking at that too. It's such it is a value stock. The IV is only at like 25, 28%. So it's hard to sell puts on them because like you like the premiums you get are so low. So, maybe if we saw this thing continue to really tank, maybe I'd sell a put on it. But for right now, I'm just going to stick to like MARA, Microsoft, PINS, Enphase, NIO after they report earnings, Microsoft. Oh, Hunter's saying Peloton is down. I actually sold some puts on that one. What was it, last week? Peloton is actually testing support right around $100 right now. It's definitely not a good sign. And they also have earnings pretty soon, which is, they have earnings on May 6th after close.
Yeah, do you guys like my little drawing here on Peloton? I actually have them as being pretty bearish over the next couple months, but hopefully they can hold these supports and be pretty good. I know that Mike's been selling some cash secured puts on them to take advantage of those good premiums, but overall, it's just they've had some pretty bad news, like with people getting hurt and stuff on these Peloton treadmills and stuff like that. So honestly, it doesn't, the news, it's not like it's bad news, but overall, I would think that they would obviously recover longer term from this. We'll just have to see how it moves in the shorter term, though.
Alrighty, let's see what else we got. So we have Gilead moving down. They're down around 1.5% today. Hunter's saying it's Peloton's close to breaking support on the daily. And then we have Matthew saying, do you guys think it's good to day trade FDX? I think that's the safest option. So I would say so, definitely. I'm actually looking to short some out-of-the-money puts on UPS, so I just wanted to run up a little bit more. But yeah, I would definitely say it would definitely be safer to day trade these stocks. They're starting to get a little bit overextended, so that's just one thing to watch out for. But yeah, I definitely agree with you, Matthew.
Yeah, and I would say if anything, like UPS is getting a little more overextended than FedEx. Like FedEx looks like it might, maybe come back up to all-time highs or possibly break it, but UPS is just so far gone above all-time highs that we just don't know when it's going to stop.
Alrighty, let's see what else we got. So we have T pulling back a little bit, CCIV not really doing anything, NIO looks like they're still tanking. So, Tom, do you have any last-minute stocks you're watching? Any news you're watching? Anything?
Yeah, I mean, really, NIO is a big one today. Unfortunately, on the daily, it just looks pretty bad for NIO. They might have a continuation to the downside. That's a big one to watch today. I think they have earnings coming up later on. Pretty bad to move down into earnings. Maybe people are anticipating NIO going down on earnings because Tesla went down on earnings also. Plus, there's that chip shortage, so maybe they're going to get hurt. But my main ones to watch today are NIO. I'm also going to be watching the SPY, of course. We hit all-time highs. Now we're pulling back very, very hard on that 1 minute chart, or the 1 minute. We just hit the 1,000 SMA perfectly. Now we're starting to bounce back up. So maybe that'll be the low today. We'll just have to see what happens. But it looks like we're posting some pretty good green candles off of this low. And always my favorite things to watch are the SPY, but especially with everything going on with Powell talking yesterday and Biden, I'm just going to be watching it to see what goes on because we hit all-time highs. Now we're tanking. So it's just going to be a very interesting day, I think, to see what happens.
Sounds good. Well, thank you guys so much for watching our stream. Thank you so much for joining. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. And we hope you have an amazing rest of the trading day. And we will see you guys with the nightly